Tonight on Sports Corner, the Auburn Tigers went into the Palace on the Prairie. Stick with us as we go campus to campus tonight at 8.
The Cleveland Browns and they got it at home against Jordan Love's Green Bay Packers. Stick with us and we'll tell you all about it.
And the Cleveland Guardians, riding a 10-game winning streak, look to sweep the Minnesota Twins on Sunday. We give you the recap and more as a brand new episode of Sports Corner starts right now. From the Frankenhall studio on the campus of Kent State University, this is Sports Corner alongside Maddox Miller. I'm Evan Schofield. Maddox, a busy show, but a super fun one today.
Oh, absolutely. We have a lot of action to get to, and we're going to start with some Kent State athletics over on the soccer pitch, where the Flashes headed over to Muncie, Indiana to take on Ball State. After going scoreless for the first half, the Flashes were able to put one on with senior Kelsey Salopek finding the back of the net. The Flashes' defense held Ball State scoreless in the remaining 29 minutes of the game, and Kent State was able to end their 5-game road trip with a 1-0 conference win over the Cardinals. The Flashes will stay in Kent for their midday matchup on Thursday against UMass at 2 o'clock.
Yesterday afternoon, the Kent State field hockey team, their 6-game road series at UMass finished up. After a scoreless first quarter, Emma Rolston scored a goal just 18 seconds into the second period, giving the Flashes a 1-0 advantage. When both teams failing to score in the third quarter, the Flashes pulled through with an incisive pass from Emma Seeger to Maybrit Dewells, making the score 2-1 with only 11 minutes remaining. The Riverhawks had a quick response, leveling the score, moving into overtime. Within 97 seconds of overtime, UMass scored, defeating Kent State 3-2. Kent State returns home for their conference matchup against Miami on Friday at 2 p.m.
We're going to wrap things up with a trip down to Tallahassee, where Kent State was taking on the number 7 ranked Florida State Seminoles. Down 14-0. Drew DeShields with a great pass to Deshaun Martin, and he will take it all the way. But unfortunately, that'd be about all the offense for Kent State, as down or up 14-7. Tommy Castellanos would take it on the QB run and find the end zone. The Heisman candidate putting on a show this game. Now in the second, 35-7 already. Samuel Singleton Jr. with a rush into the end zone, making it 42-7. It'd be an offensive onslaught for the Seminoles as they would win 66-10, sending Kent State packing as the Flashes prepare for a road matchup against the Oklahoma Sooners next weekend.
Well, Maddox, quite the game. Obviously, Kent State still has one win on the year. Couldn't get it done over there. But to talk more about this, we have our own Michael DeFilippo. Welcome, Michael. I wanted to know, we see Kent being one of those teams in the MAC that could potentially beat a few teams, but I want to know further your thoughts on, can they truly be a competitive team?
You know, I think they probably could. The way they play against Buffalo is that, you know, they kept it a close game, and I feel like, you know, they can play good against other teams, you know, like Akron, you know, Ball State, and UMass. So I can probably see them winning like 4 games this season, which is an improvement from the past 2 seasons.
I mean, it'd be a massive improvement going from 0 wins the year prior, and then the year before even that, just 1 win. To pick up 4 wins would be huge. There's actually a handful of winless teams in the MAC.
Yes.
No team over 500 right now. The conference, though the conference championship may not be in the sights of Kent State, certainly some conference wins are in the sight lines, even after a tough loss to Buffalo. You mentioned Akron, you mentioned UMass. You said you think they're going to win around 4 games. I do have to ask, Mark Carney, interim head coach, do you think 4 wins would be enough to keep him as the head coach?
You know, I think so, because like that's like quadruple the amount of wins that Kenny Burns have in the past 2 seasons.
Yes.
Right.
So I would definitely keep him.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they are just playing better.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's hard to disagree with that. We've seen the Buffalo game, the offense. Drew DeShields looks like a legitimate quarterback that they can put their trust into. Do you have a little more on DeShields?
Yeah, and they were able to keep it kind of a game, you know, for a while. You know, another MAC opponent. I wrote down a few stats. Like Drew DeShields, you know, he's 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's been balling out. You know, his only pick was against Florida State, which was what, his first start, right?
No, first start against Buffalo, but going on the road in Tallahassee against a number 7, a team that beat Alabama, you're probably going to have a misstep with that.
Yeah, and like Michael said, you know, they have yet to play Akron, UMass, all those teams, and they could honestly, with, you know, quarterback play that's a little better than, you know, subpar, we can finally see a Kent State team just be better than they have been, even if it's a low bar.
Yeah, though the bar may be low, I think it would be quite impressive for this team. You'd have to agree, Michael, to just pull out 4 wins. I mean, you said it earlier. Do you think that this is a reasonable, we say 4 wins is the ceiling, do we think they can reach that, like, reasonably?
I think so. Even if they don't play their perfectly the best, you know, like, they may do good in certain areas these games, they may do good in other areas for other games, you know. They just may happen at different times, and, you know, that could be enough to win certain games.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to look forward to, and we're going to take it to the pros, Evan?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Michael, as always. Well, Bo Nix took his Denver Broncos into SoFi Stadium for a rivalry match with the Chargers. When we come back, AFC West recaps and more on SportsCorner.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert. Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Class, today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one. Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe. Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchool.com.
Hey there, welcome to Kent Core.
Kent Core?
Kent Core. To Kent Core.
Hi, I'm Leland Melvin, and I traveled to space twice as a NASA astronaut. Space technologies help protect our precious Earth. Space helps us monitor changes in carbon emissions, track the pace of climate change. It even helps us fight natural disasters. Make sure that you get out to your local science museum or go to spaceforall.us to explore and learn about space and science. Space is for all.
It was another crazy Saturday in the world of college football. So, to help us navigate it, we welcome in Lexi Blatnick and Alexis Bachman as SportsCorner goes campus to campus. We're going to start out with an SEC matchup between Missouri and South Carolina. The ranked Missouri Tigers trying to get in the end zone here early, second quarter. 3rd and 6. Bo Pribula is going to find Joshua Manning for the touchdown. They'd miss on the PAT, making it 6-0, which would give the Gamecocks a chance to respond. Norris Sellers, who was injured in his last game, is going to unleash a bomb to Vandravis Jacobs to make it 7-6. Missouri would make a field goal to make it 9-7 now, but Sellers with another rocket, this time to Brian Rowe Jr. for the touchdown, making it 14-9. Both teams would kick a field goal to bring it in close now in the third quarter, 17-12. Missouri with the ball once more. It's going to be Ahmed Hardy. He's going to get stopped here. Wait, actually, he's going to break out and plunge his way into the end zone, making it 18-7. South Carolina, that would kick a field goal to go up 2 now in the fourth quarter. This is not Hardy, but instead Jamal Roberts breaking tackles and getting into the end zone. 26-20. Missouri would tack on a field goal and win this one 29-20. A huge SEC win for Missouri.
Let's over to Nebraska, Michigan. There's Biff Poggi, the interim head coach. Can he lead his men to a win? Let's find out. End of the first. #1 recruit from last year. There's Bryce Underwood. Look at the wheels he has. No one's going to catch him for the 37-yard score. Michigan up early, 10-0. We're going to head over to the second quarter now. Sophomore Dylan Raiola faces a 3rd and 8 and fires deep down the middle. Finds his guy, Ja'Cory Barney Jr. Look out for that name today. He's going to be a playmaker. That's a 26-yard score for the tie game. 1 second in the half after Michigan strikes quick. Raiola has one pass, one chance to get into the end zone. It goes deep, and it's caught by Barney. Once again catches it. 2nd touchdown of the day. I don't know, guys. That looked kind of Mahomey to me. Now, time with limited. Raiola hits Heinrich Harburg. Not enough. Michigan wins it 32-27.
And we're taking you to the Palace on the Prairie where the Oklahoma hosts the Auburn Tigers. We're taking you to the 4th quarter where Malcolm Simmons runs it in for a 4-yard touchdown. Score is 17-16 Auburn. Still in the 4th quarter here, John Mateer throws one to Isaiah Satana for a 31-yard pass, and that advances the Sooners to the Auburn 9. Still here in the 4th quarter, Mateer stretches his legs for a 9-yard touchdown. That's a Sooner touchdown. Score is now 22-17. And it's the final minute, and can the Tigers pull it off? They cannot, as R. Mason Thomas sacks Jackson Arnold, and that seals the game. Final score 24-17.
This weekend, Clemson versus Syracuse at the Memorial Stadium. First quarter, Syracuse's number 9, Steve Angeli, passed to number 15, Darrell Dill Jr. for a touchdown, starting the first quarter off at 24-7. In the second quarter, with only 1 minute left, Clemson's number 2, Cade Klubnik, passed to number 8, running back Adam Randall for another touchdown. The score being 24-14 going into halftime. At the end of the third quarter, Syracuse's number 10, Rocky Collins, passed to number 12, Justice Ross Simmons, scoring them one more touchdown, with the score being 27-14. Going into the middle of the fourth quarter, Clemson's number 2, Cade Klubnik, passed to number 12, wide receiver Bryant Wesco Jr., getting them another touchdown, the score being 34-20. But towards the end of the quarter, with only 5 minutes left, Clemson was intercepted by Syracuse's number 10, Devine Kerr, ending the game with Syracuse 24 and Clemson 21.
Well, it was quite the jam-packed weekend for college football. One of the games that was not shown here was a ranked matchup, Big Ten, Indiana, Illinois. Illinois was number 9 at the time. They were going in to Indiana to try and establish themselves as a powerhouse. 63-10 final score. Not for Illinois. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
But Fernando Mendoza, 5 touchdowns. What do you guys make of this absolute clubbing of Illinois?
I feel bad for them. It's almost as bad as I felt like last season when Kent State versus Tennessee. It's like seeing someone get beat that bad is just, it's not good for anyone, and, you know.
Morale has to be in the trenches for Illinois. And it's no fault of Luke Altmaier at all. I mean, he took 5 sacks. What was the O-line doing during that whole game?
I truly don't know. I mean, Jackson Arnold took 10 in the Auburn-Oklahoma game, but 5 is still pretty bad.
That's like CTE waiting to happen.
And like, yeah, to your point, Altmaier's had a pretty good year. You know, he hasn't thrown a pick to my record, and it's definitely the O-line. They are falling apart. The teams are just finding ways to get to the quarterback, and there's nothing he can really do about it when there's constant pressure and he can't really find his guys.
Yeah, Illinois was, I don't know if properly punished for this loss. 14 rank slide. They go from 9 all the way to 23. That is ridiculous. Notre Dame went 0-2, and they still managed to stay in the top 10 or in the top 25. So what do you guys think? Is this maybe too harsh of a slide for a team like Illinois?
I don't think so. I mean, they're 2 unproven teams that faced each other. I don't know. If, like, next week, remind me again who Illinois faces.
Next week, I
don't know off the top of my head. If
forgot.
it's like a tragic loss, I'm like, no. Have them, send them to the abyss. But if it's like a, you know what, we all have a bad game.
Yes.
Throw your hands up in the air and say, you know what, let's ball out.
Yeah. Evan, what do you think on this slide?
They're not out of it yet.
Well, no.
You know, obviously it's super early in the year, but it's a concerning slide if I'm Illinois. You know, you don't want to go that far down, seriously. And like you said about Notre Dame, why so drastically? Just because of how big the loss was? Or do you think, you know, it was more of just, I don't know. I mean, they're 0-1 in their conference, but, you know, they registered 3 other wins. I don't know. I'm on and off about it.
Yeah, Indiana, though, picking up where they left off. They made the college football playoffs last year. Another team that made the college football playoffs last year and is on the struggle bus is Clemson. They're 1-3. They lose to Syracuse. Their season's over. Unless they somehow pull a miracle and get to the ACC championship game, the season is over. So I have to ask, Dabo Swinney, he is one of the greatest head coaches that college football has seen in recent years, multiple-time national champion. What do we think about him? Do you want to take this half of it?
I think that he is just trying his best, as probably as a lot of football coaches are.
It's a kind way to put it. Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's stuck in tradition. I think he's not utilizing NIL at all, nor the transfer portal, and those are 2 huge aspects in college football. And why are you not utilizing those tools? Even if you are like, I'm not paying these children, essentially, to play for me. No, that's silly. While you have, say, OSU giving all this... Oregon.
You know, they have pretty much the CEO of Nike providing them their NIL
Right.
fund.
I mean, you're not going to draw that talent.
No. Evan, your thoughts on the Clemson situation?
Look, so I go to quarterback immediately. Cade Klubnik, one of the most highly ranked quarterbacks going into the 2026 NFL draft, right? He has thrown 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. It hasn't been his best year. When your quarterback is falling apart, your team will also fall apart. You can't rely on your defense, which obviously hasn't been a strong suit of Clemson. Yeah, I think he's stuck in his ways. I think it might be time to either reconsider schemes, new coaches, or you just kind of hang it up. You know, you haven't had proper success since what, Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. Dabo Swinney, maybe a Trevor Lawrence merchant. And a lot of people,
Maybe.
I think a lot of people see Saban retired and they viewed NIL as kind of a leading cause for that. So guys just have to adjust or they're going to be left behind. Coaches like Dabo, coaches like Mike Gundy, like if you do not get with the times are going to leave you behind. But I do want to say thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate your insight. We have a lot. Sorry, I almost did what I did to Liv Sharp last year and left you hanging.
I would have been heartbroken, Maddox Miller.
I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for giving us your insight on this wild college football season. But another Sunday of the NFL has passed us by, and to assist us in breaking it down, we are going to welcome in Ryan Mead. So before he comes on, we're going to get into the action real quick, starting out in Cleveland, Ohio, where they took on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. It would be an uneventful first half, and we would get late into the third quarter where Jordan Love would find his tight end, John Fitzpatrick, for a touchdown to go up 10-0. Green Bay with a chance to put it away now here late in the fourth quarter. But oh my goodness, Jordan Love, who were you looking at? Grant Delpit is on the receiving end of this pass. He'd pick it off and go a decent way, fighting to himself down within the 5-yard line, where Cleveland would capitalize with Quinshon Judkins, the former Buckeye, plunging his way into the end zone. Tied now 10-10, but surely Green Bay will get oh my goodness, the field goal got blocked. Brandon McManus gets blocked, and the Cleveland Browns fall on it late in the fourth quarter. Joe Flacco would get him into field goal range, and Andre Schmidt, the man who was the villain after Cincinnati, now becomes the hero, winning this one 13-10 and getting the Cleveland Browns their first win of the season.
What a game over in Cleveland, but we're going to take a trip to the Link. That was Sean McVay's 9th season, trying to go 3-0 with Matt Stafford, who loads up, takes a shot for the new Ram, Devontae Adams. Maddox calling for a push-off. I don't know if that's true. It looks solid. That's a 44-yard score, 10-7 Rams. Eagles trying to strike back, and oh my goodness, look at Jalen McCullough with the leveling hit on Hurts. So bad. We got to watch that again. Oh my goodness, he just takes him to the ground. Philly's forced to punt. Stays at the same score now. Philly down big. Hurts hits Dallas Goedert wide open. Hurts had a 3-touchdown day, so the passing game might be back a little bit. Extra point help cuts the deficit to 12. They've rallied. They face a 4th and goal. What a clutch throw from Jalen Hurst to Devontae Smith. 60 yards on the day. Fans are rowdy. Rams rally to kick a field goal. And the Eagles, how about a stunning turn of events? Jordan Davis, the big man, runs all the way down the field for 61 yards for a touchdown. Improbable things happening at the link. Eagles win a stunner 33-26. What a game that was.
Thanks, guys. And now the Denver Broncos are going to go to LA to take on the LA Chargers as Justin Herbert is going to hand this one off to Amari Hampton. Touchdown Chargers. They're going to be up 10-0 here early in this one. And this is going to be a very close game, or interesting game here. But Bo Nix here on 4th and 2, an interesting call. He's going to find a wide open Cortland Sutton into the end zone, a free 7 points. Where is the Chargers defense on this one? This is going to be an interesting one. And then Bo Nix is going to find J.K. Dobbins one-handed catch, stiff arm, and someone's got to tackle him. Nope, no tackle right there. Touchdown Broncos. They're going to get the lead back right here, and this is going to be needed right here. Justin Herbert's going to make a little bit of a Mahomes move right there, and he's going to find the end zone. Touchdown Chargers. Keenan Allen, what a play by Justin Herbert, and the Chargers are going to have a tie game right here, but can they make the game-winning field goal here? Yes, they can. The Chargers are going to win 23-20. This one was not blocked. Chargers are going to win it.
Well, Ryan, what a game that was. Thank you again for joining us here at the desk. There's been a lot of teams this week that have, I think, been upset. You know, we saw the Green Bay-Cleveland game, and we see teams kind of fumbling under the pressure. So, Ryan, I wanted to ask you, what team do you think is, like, under the most pressure going into Week 4?
Well, I think this one is a pretty simple one. You have to look at the Cincinnati Bengals. They just lost 48-10 to the Minnesota Vikings. Without Joe Burrow, they looked completely incompetent. They have got to figure something out here. The offense is statistically the worst in the NFL right now. Defense has actually been not that bad. They are statistically the middle of the pack, not horrible, but they obviously losing 48-10. You've got to figure something out here, or else Zach Taylor's going to get fired. But Evan, what do you think is the team under most pressure?
All right, well, I'm not going to say most pressure, but I'm going to say a team that really has just lost its step. And I think the fans are livid. Imagine being a Saints fan right now, thinking, wow, I just lost 56 to what?
I couldn't imagine being a Saints fan.
I couldn't imagine being a Saints fan. There's nothing even going on. They have Spencer Rattler as their starting quarterback. You know, wide receivers are going to want trades soon. Chris Olave, you know, he keeps getting hurt. He keeps being partially injured. I don't see this team. I see this team getting the first overall pick. Frankly, I think that is something that is super possible, but you know, Maddox, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
I honestly think if you want to classify this team as under the most pressure, the Saints are under the most pressure to get the #1 overall.
Right. You would think they're
trying
trying for
the tank. You can't. Mess up, you are well within it. Do not mess up the tank.
Right.
My team under the most pressure is actually the loser of this Monday Night Football game. I think if the Ravens or the Lions fall to 1-2, you're doing your best to avoid a 1-3 start. They are both in tough divisions. The Steelers are playing well. The Packers are playing well. The Vikings, as we just talked about, clobbered the Bengals. So if you drop to 1-2 and then you somehow manage to drop to 1-3, it is going to be tough to claw out of that hole. But I do want to ask you, Ryan, we had a lot of great performances this weekend.
That's right.
I want to ask you, who was your MVP of Week 3?
So this one is it's actually a UC guy. He plays for the Raiders right now. Trey Tucker, he absolutely went off. He had 40 fantasy points last week. He had 3 touchdowns, 145 receiving yards. You really can't beat that. That's unbelievable. He kind of came out of nowhere, really. I don't think anybody really. I think I saw he had 2% of fantasy owners had him on their team. But how about Evan? What do you think?
All right, so mine isn't actually a player, and we're going to go back to that Bengals game. We're going to go for the Vikings defense, right? Two pick sixes on Jake Browning, or one?
One pick six and one fumble return.
One fumble return. This is a team that obviously had the quarterback change, right? They got rid of J.J. McCarthy. They went with Carson Wentz.
Well, J.J. McCarthy got hurt.
He got hurt, but they're now sticking with Carson Wentz to play the Steelers in Ireland next Sunday. I thought they were outstanding, frankly. You know, they took advantage of the quarterback change with Joe Burrow, and I just thought in general, it was a dominant performance from a pretty good defense led by Brian Flores.
I mean, I have to agree. So with that, I went with the cornerback, Isaiah Rodgers. 1 pick six, a second interception, and then a fumble 6. He accounted for more points than the Bengals offense did. It was an amazing performance. I hope the NFL gives him Defensive Player of the Week.
True. Better.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You scored 14 points. The other team scored 10. I mean, that is what you want from your defense. But we've talked about teams that are maybe panicking. We've talked about MVPs, so let's wrap it up. Who is the team to beat right now? It's early.
Very early.
But who is the team to beat right now?
Well, I did a highlight earlier on the Chargers, and I think I'm going to say that they're the team to beat right now. They beat the Chiefs earlier. They're 3-0. It's really hard to, say who is going to be the best team right now since it's only, week 3, going into week 4. But I think the Chargers have just put it all together so far. I mean, beating the Chiefs is such a big win. But who do you think, Evan?
Yeah, I wanted to say they've beaten 3 divisional teams the first 3 weeks.
That's huge.
I got to stick with the Philadelphia Eagles. They cannot find a way to lose.
Nope.
Even down, about almost 20 points. They were down early against the Rams, and they were able to come back and form some kind of super awesome way to win the game with that Jordan Davis touchdown at the end. It's improbable, but Maddox, what do you think?
Really quick. Give me the Colts. Danny Dimes.
The
resurgence is here.
Indiana Jones.
Jonathan Taylor, he's reestablished himself as one of the best running backs in the NFL. The offense has punted once all year. Right. Now they have beaten the Dolphins, Broncos, and Titans, who share 1 win between them. But right now the Colts are fully my team to beat.
Well, that's definitely fun to talk about. There is a collapse happening in the Big Apple as the Mets are crumbling right before the playoffs begin. Be prepared as SportsCorner takes a trip around the bases.
Best point differential in the NFL.
Illicit fentanyl is the deadliest drug threat that our nation has ever experienced. We lost Leo when he was only 19, killed by fentanyl he didn't even know he was taking. He was my heart, my son.
My grandson. I wish you could have met him. Such a beautiful young man. Kind, smart, funny, sweet, a great kid.
Go to ladrfoundation.org to join us in the fight against fentanyl.
Thank
you.
Brush, brushy, brush, brushy, brush, brush your teeth. Every day and every night. Now it's your parents' turn. Here's what you gotta do. Let them have your toothbrush so that they can brushy brush your teeth. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Help your teeth stay healthy. Brushy brush with a grown-up every day.
The playoffs are just around the corner for baseball, so we bring in C.O. Parker and Zach Svensson to give us their insight. But before that, we have some weekend games to get through, and we're going to start in Cleveland, where they took on the Minnesota Twins. Actually, we're going to start in Minnesota, where the Guardians were looking to extend their win streak and sweep Minnesota. Top of the first, Steven Kwan would rip this one into right field, and if you watch the weekend games, that right field was peppered with home runs by Bo Naylor, Jose Ramirez, and the likes. But down 2-0, bottom of the third, it will be Cody Clemens hitting the RBI single to get Byron Buxton in, making the score 2-1. And Minnesota would continue to push the offenses in the bottom of the sixth. Brooks Lee with a rocket into that right field. This would be a 2-run home run, making it 3-2. Minnesota doing their best to avoid avoid the sweep despite being out of the playoffs already. In the bottom of the 7th, Royce Lewis with a nail in the coffin, a 3-run home run to the left field. Royce Lewis, one of the better power hitters in the MLB. If he can stay on the diamond, that's been the hardest part for him. Twins would win this one 6-2 to kind of put a thorn in the Guardians' side as they try to push for the postseason.
Well, let's head out west. It's the Giants and the Dodgers. Giants are 4 games out, but maybe they can help with the win here. It's been a shutout game until the bottom of the 7th. Well, Michael Conforto singled the deep left. He's going to bring home Max Muncy, who slides, and that's 1-0. Finally, some offense in this game from the Giants, or from the Dodgers, excuse me. Patrick Bailey batting a 2-1-9, faces a 2-2 count. Ground rule double. Drew Gilbert gets to third. Potentially a tie game here. Maybe we can get the baseman to the home plate, and that is successful. There's going to be a little more offense from the Giants. Same inning as Blake Trinan walks. Willie Adamus with bases loaded. Gilbert comes home. San Fran up 2-0. Scoring frenzy continues for the Giants as Matt Chapman ground short and Bailey's going to come back home. Dodgers need some hitting down 2. Maybe they can pull some kind of comeback. They get one more shot. Ryan Walker finishes the game and strikes out Conforto. That'll do it. Giants win Game 4, 3-1. Cardinals creep up tomorrow night.
We take you now to the top of the 3rd with runners splitting the bases here with the Braves visiting the Tigers at Comerica Park. Ronald Acuna Jr. singles to right, and we get Vidal Brujan to round the bases and make it in, scoring, making it a 1-0 ball game. Now we take you to the top of the 4th. Bases empty. Ha-Sung Kim hits to the left center field, and pizza. It is a 2-0 ball game as Julius Caesar is hit. Man, talk about hot and ready. Kim was ready for that. We take you now to the top of the 5th. Runner is on first. Drake Baldwin to deep left field. Riley Green misses it. Matt Olson rounds the bases, making it 3-0. We now take you to the bottom of the 9th. It has become 6-0. This time, Gleyber Torres hits it to deep left field with Jumai Jones rounding the bases, making it a 6-1 game. Unfortunately, the Tigers could not make it out. It was a 6-2 final score, making that a 6-game losing streak for the Detroit Tigers.
We head to Queens, New York, where the Nationals take on the Mets, who are on the hunt for one of the final wild card spots left in the NL. We pick up in the top of the 2nd, 1 out and 1 runner on. On first, Jorge Alfaro lines one to left. He'll slide into second, and the throw from Francisco Lindor will get away, scoring Dalen Lyle as he crosses the plate, getting the scoring started here in the top of the 2nd. 1-0 Nationals. Now 2 outs, and Nasim Nunez steps up to the plate and smokes one to left. Left center, traveling over Brandon Nimmo's head for his 3rd home run of the year, and will make this a 3-0 game here in the top of the 2nd. After the Mets tack on a run in the 3rd, now in the 6th, Lindor clobbers the 2-2 pitch to right field and deep. That will bring the Nationals' lead down to 1 and be his 28th home run of the season. Lindor searching for another 30-30 season. See if he can get it done. We head to the bottom of the 9th where Francisco Alvarez pinch hitting lines one deep to center field. Jacob Young makes an insane grab, which would have been the tying run, would have been a home run. He brings it back. And we end with a final of 3-2 here in Queens.
Well, the MLB season is coming to a close. And with that, we'd like to do some reminiscing here on Sports Corner. So I want to ask you guys, what have been some of your favorite parts of the MLB season as we approach the postseason?
One of my favorite parts of the season so far has been all the milestones that have been reached. Trout 400 the other night, Stanton getting to 450. If he can get to 500, we'll see if he can get into the Hall of Fame. You also have Kershaw getting strikeout number 3,000. He gets that this year. He's going to retire after this season. You also have Verlander getting 3,500. He says he's coming back next year. That already adds on to his Hall of Fame resume. But those are some of my favorite things that have happened this season, the huge milestones that have been reached for these players that all of us have been watching for the past decade.
Yeah, quite the historic season in general. A lot of career milestones, a lot of Hall of Fame cases being solidified. Cio, what's been one of your favorite parts of this season?
I mean, I'd say one of my favorite parts of this season has been the, honestly, the MVP race between not Juan Soto.
Well, he's in the race.
Well, he's in the race, but between Cal Riley and Aaron Judge, yeah. Thinking in New York. And I think it is a remarkably close race. It's been really fun to watch. Both have been putting up incredible numbers. I've just been really excited about that.
Yeah, you talk hitters. I'm going to switch it over to pitchers. What about the NFL? What about the Cy Young Award? Like, we're seeing a resurgence in these young, talented pitchers, such as Paul Skeens, Tariq Skubal. These are guys that are young, but they're near the top of the Cy Young race in both cases, and I think Skeens could finally win his first Cy Young. The Pirates have also got a good farm going for a guy like Bubba Chandler. He was called up a few days ago. And the ERAs are just phenomenal. We're just seeing year by year these pitchers get more advanced, be better just in all their games. So definitely the Cy Young has got me pretty interested this year.
Yeah, you say finally for Skeens. He's only in year 2, and yet he's already about to win a Cy Young, which is pretty crazy. I think it is. You mentioned Kershaw, you mentioned Verlander. These guys are at the tail ends of the Kershaw is retiring. So to see that the pitching is in good hands. Chris Sale is near the tail end of his career, so to see that the position still has such elite arms to bolster it up is really good to see. My favorite part of this season has actually come at the tail end of this year, and it has been this insane wild card race, both in the American League and the National League. So I have to ask, what are your thoughts on this absolutely crazy wild card race we're seeing?
It's been insane. The Guardians have come back from as big of a deficit of 15.5 games on the Tigers. They've locked themselves in a wild card spot for now, tied with the Astros, but they have the tiebreaker, so they're in that spot right now. They have a 3-game set coming up against the Tigers this week. They face Tariq Skubal tomorrow night, but they have Gavin Williams on the mound, who's shown flashes of what he can be, another great young starting pitcher in this league that's going to help take over the brunt of stardom after Kershaw and Verlander head out. And that's in the AL, the Tigers falling, but also you have the Mariners and the Astros, who the Mariners just got done winning that series, and the AL wildcard has been insane so far.
Yeah, I do. You have some thoughts on the NL race?
I think a lot of my thoughts on the NL race, I feel like we're reaching a point where it's pretty set in stone who's going to make it, but it was nice to see sort of the Giants and the Reds really make a push for it. I don't believe either of them have been fully eliminated.
Reds are in right now.
The Reds are in?
Over the Mets.
Oh, well,
the Mets have completely bottomed out.
The Mets bottoming out.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Yeah, I think it's been a really exciting. It's been really exciting to see in all honesty, I've been really excited for the Giants and interested in watching them. But yeah, the Mets kind of failing has been maybe a little disappointing, but exciting to watch. It makes the end of the season a lot more exciting. I'm glad the Reds have made it in. I think that's quite impressive.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time both Ohio teams made the playoffs.
It's been quite some time, I feel like. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Both Reds and Guardians, very youthful. Ellie De La Cruz, just a young all-star. If the Mets miss out on the playoffs, man, you pay all that money for Juan Soto for what? You made almost the World Series. You were a few games short of the Dodgers. I mean, what do you think about this whole Mets situation?
It's been embarrassing as a franchise that spends money and has proven to spend the money, especially in years like this. So it's definitely something to loat at. But at least the Guardians are getting up there. Seems like something that we'll be looking for.
Absolutely.
Well, again, we're going to toss it over to Stone. Stone, we've renamed your segment, but I think it's going to be beneficial as you have a few things to set straight for us.
Welcome to Stone Sets It Straight, the segment where I break down my favorite happenings in the world of sports. First off, we have the series of the week. It all comes down to 3 games starting tomorrow as the Guardians take on the Tigers in Cleveland. Whoever wins this series will be in the driver's seat for the American League Central title. Tariq Skubal will open the series for the Tigers, with Gavin Williams taking the mound for the Guardians. Last Thursday, the Guardians got to Skubal for run on a John Kinsey Noel home run en route to sweeping the Tigers. Jack Flaherty and Tanner Bybee will match up Wednesday. Flaherty has an ERA under 3 in his last 3 starts and allowed just a run last week against the Guardians in 5 innings. Tanner Bybee allowed just 1 run on 4 hits last week against Detroit. Parker Messick takes them out Thursday for Cleveland, and he has been phenomenal, pitching to an ERA a shade over 2 to start his career. The series has a ton on the line, as the winner will be in the driver's seat. However, the Guardians need just 1 win to take the tiebreaker over the Tigers and win the season series. Additionally, we have even more chaos in the wildcard race. Fellow Ohio team Cincinnati Reds have played themselves into the final NL wildcard spot, but speaking of earlier, they mentioned it the last time the Guardians and Reds have been in the playoffs, 2020. As of this moment, they ended this week on a 5-game winning streak after a 1-0 shutout against the Cubs Sunday. They hold the tiebreaker over the Mets for the final spot. During the win streak, the Reds have hit 9 homers while pitching to an ERA of 1.6. Elsewhere in the National League West will come down to the last week. While the Dodgers are likely to win the division, a collapse would put the Padres in position to claim the division. In the American League West, the Mariners control their destiny after sweeping the Astros this past weekend. They've won 14 out of 15 games and are peaking at the right time. The Mariners have a series against the Rockies that should put them in a good position as long as they take care of business, which, as we have seen, can be tougher than you think. Lastly, WWE debuted a new era with the kickoff of the ESPN deal. WrestlePalooza took place over the weekend, and it was absolutely mid. After Triple H kicked off the event with a hype package, the event quickly took a turn for the worse with the absolutely terrible Brock Lesnar versus John Cena match for the last time. What took place was a match so bad, so disappointing, that I cannot help but be bewildered at the result. Lesnar destroyed Cena after 5 F5s and a ton of suplexes. The show simply could not recover fully. Even a returning AJ Lee couldn't fully capture the magic. The Vision continued their story by pinning the Usos reunited. Cody Rhodes retained in questionable ways against Drew McIntyre, with the referee having multiple questionable moments. To end, however, on a positive note, Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer tore the house down. Vaquer captured her first main roster title in a classic match that showed why the women are the best part of the company at the moment. The talent in that division is endless. This has been Stone Sets It Straight. For KSTV, I'm Stone O'Brien.
Thank you, Stone. I agree with everything you said about the WWE, but the WNBA playoffs are in full swing as the Indiana Fever continue to thrive, even without Caitlin Clark. We've got the details coming up.
Roll over. Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother and... I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Is it okay over there? Is that good?
Jackie boy, look, we have been through a lot together.
Hurry up before this rain, this rain goes away.
Well, it's just,
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride? No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom. Dude, are you okay? I am definitely buzzed. Yeah. I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
Welcome back, my friends. I'm Gage Wellman, and if you don't remember, this is actually Wellman's World, where I take you from location to location. And today we're going from NBA championship contender court to court. The last time we saw the association, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they hosted the Larry O'Brien Trophy for the first time since they were the Seattle Supersonics. And honestly, if it wasn't for the next team I talk about and the fact that there hasn't been a repeat champion since the KD Warriors, I actually would pick the Thunder to win again. There's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP, who spent all last year being compared to the GOAT, Michael Jordan, and playing a very meticulous style of basketball which focuses on drawing fouls. And then there's also Jalen Williams, who made his first All-Star appearance in 2025, posting up a split of 22, 5, and 5, and being the perfect Scottie Pippen to SGA's Jordan. In addition to the two leading men, there's the supporting cast of Chet Holmgren, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Joe. Truly, Oklahoma City is rolling 12 deep. But questions must ensue, and this is why we haven't seen a team repeat since 2018, as I just mentioned. And who knows? This is an Oklahoma City team that needed 7 games to win the title. Can they really do it again? But then there's a redemption story brewing in the 2-1-6, Cleveland, Ohio. The Cavaliers, they lost badly in the second round of the playoffs for the second straight season. It was painful for Cleveland. They had the most wins in franchise history since LeBron James's first MVP season back in 08-09. But here's why they can rebound and win their second title 10 years after their first. The East is wide open with injuries to Boston's Jason Tatum and Indiana's Tyrese Halliburton. If any team were to take advantage of this, it would be the first-place Cavaliers, who have all of their players available at this point in time. The offseason was also very strong with the addition of guard Lonzo Ball. If Ball can stay healthy, Cleveland's already strong ball movement and shooting skills will just get better. The Cavs, who also brought back fan favorite Larry Nance Jr., are pretty much set to be the favorite in 2026 as well, excuse me. But if they lose again, who knows what happens to that roster. And finally, my third team to keep a close eye on, the New York Knicks. The Knicks couldn't get it done against the overachieving Pacers, but a lot of that was the product of insane clutch play from Halliburton, who, as I just mentioned, will not be playing this year. New York is honestly just as talented as Cleveland and Oklahoma City. Stars are everywhere in Madison Square Garden: Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Miles Bridges, and an hyper-intensive front court off the bench with the likes of Josh Hart and Jordan Clarkson. Tom Thibodeau will not be returning, however, and in his place will be former Coach of the Year award winner Mike Brown. Brown has been to the finals before as a head coach with the Cavs and as an assistant with Golden State, but only time will tell if he's a good fit to lead New York to its first finals appearance since 1999. If New York can play bully ball style and keep a tough face against the Cavs and Boston, who's still hanging around, well, maybe, just maybe, New York can make some history. I hope you've enjoyed that trip to Wellman's World, as we're now looking at Maddox Miller and Evan Schofield. I wouldn't say those are the only 2 or 3 teams to look seriously at. Also, you got to look out for the Celtics. You got to look out for Boston. For KSTV, I'm Gage Wellman.
Thank you, Gage. Exciting times are upon us in the WNBA, with the playoffs being full steam ahead. Tensions are definitely rising. Heading over to the Target Center. Game 1 of the WNBA semifinals, Lynx and Mercury. Look at those excited fans. They're ready to roll. Lynx, they have momentum early. That's Nafisa Collier with a 23-point jumper, puts Minnesota in the lead early. First ticks down, all tied up. Phoenix strikes back. That's Alyssa Thomas with the tip shot, 2-point lead. Midway through the second quarter, the spin. That's Thomas again, 3-footer, 18 points on the night. Phoenix up by 3. And how about that? Courtney Williams steals a few minutes later and one half of the stud buds, an easy 2-pointer. Fast forward to the third quarter, back to Williams, who gets a pass from Kayla McBride. That shot is good. Very precise, straight to the fourth, and this game is getting good. There's McBride again, dropping 21 points on the night. She's got it, and running away with this are the Lynx. Maria Clooney de Cava is money, extending the lead. Fans are pumped, and that's going to do it. The Lynx with a statement win, 82-69. They win Game 1, Game 2 tomorrow night.
To Las Vegas, where the Aces are taking on the Indiana Fever. Kelsey Mitchell would knock down a 3 early to get them up 13-7 here in the first. We head to the second now, where they're up 1. Fever up 1. Asia Wilson on her MVP coronation night would get the layup. That'd be about one of the few good things for her, though. She scored 16 points on 6 for 22 shooting, as Mitchell would get the floater. You want to talk about a player at a good night, it would be Kelsey Mitchell. But Vegas trying to stay in it, 58-53 here in the third. Jackie Young, who had a game winner in the first round series for Las Vegas, would get the layup to go here. But it's all Kelsey Mitchell at this point. We're in the third quarter, 58-55. Mitchell, a little step back, a little mid-range, a lot of net. Mitchell putting the team on her back here. 66-55 now near the end of the third. Kelsey Mitchell would jack up a 3 and get it to go. 34 points from Mitchell as Indiana would continue to dominate Las Vegas. 77-64 now. It's going to be another Mitchell 3. That left-hander good for her. Fever would win this one 89-73, pulling off a big road upset.
Well, Maddox, the energy could not be higher in the WNBA, and the playoffs are a full go. You know, it's been super fun to watch. We got 2 playoff matches or matchups, a few more games to go. Which one do you want to talk about first? There's plenty to talk about here.
I mean, yeah, between 2 games, it feels like we have an ocean of choices. Yes. I think we're going to start out with Las Vegas and Indiana. Indiana, the only team in the first round to pull off an upset, the 6-seeded Fever. No Caitlin Clark. A lot of people probably expected them to be a first-round exit to the Atlanta Dream. Instead, they've taken game 1. Kelsey Mitchell, just a dominant force. Absolutely. They have to just keep feeding her. They have to just keep letting her shoot the shots. Take those shots that Caitlin Clark were getting and just give them to her. On the other side of things, for the Aces, your MVP, your 4-time MVP winner, A'ja Wilson, 6 for 22. And while on paper, you may say, that's really bad for the MVP, you only lost by 16 points.
Right.
If she can have one of her traditional A'ja Wilson nights, this series should be a cakewalk for Vegas the rest of the way. She had one off game. It is key for the Fever to keep her off her game, because if she gets going, might as well start packing your bags and flying back to Indiana. Fever, some simple basketball stuff. They just shot better. You shoot 10%, you shoot 50% to Vegas's 40%, you're gonna win most basketball games.
Yeah, the offense was clicking on all cylinders for the Fever. I would expect more offense from the Fever. They just have, there's a race, and they each have pretty good offenses, but you have to win that race with the offense. Like you said, Kelsey Mitchell, 34 points on the night in game 1. You got to keep being dominant. You got to keep giving her the ball. Yeah, Aces are spread nicely, but they simply can't keep up with them. And like you said, if you can get your most consistent player going again for the MVP, you give yourself a chance, but no doubt it's going to be a fun series. As far as the Mercury and the Lynx, another thing, offense. That is the key. The Lynx are firing everywhere. Alyssa Thomas, Kaylee Cooper, the leaders, they also played equal times in the game, and it worked. They got points. It's thriving with those two. Courtney Williams, 23 points. McBride, 21 points. We're seeing a theme in this Lynx offense.
No, absolutely. The Lynx look great. One of the title favorites. They're the 1 seed for the reason.
Right.
Mercury have to shoot the ball better.
Yes.
3 for 23 from 3. I mean, come on. How, in the modern day of basketball, where we're shooting threes left and right, if you are hitting 3 for 23, there's no way you're going to win. Also, have to perform better in the second half. 47-point first half to a 22-point second half. If you can't do that, Minnesota is going to just waltz their way to a title.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun one to keep up with.
Absolutely.
But we're going to stick around for this week's fantasy update and a meltdown from the Maddox Miller. Stay tuned for our award-winning segments.
Songs, even if they're bad, hundreds and hundreds of them, just to find a good one. Yeah. And then
I've been in this long enough. I feel like I know what I'm doing.
Knowing that you're basically like there and being
with that, but it has a special place in my heart. I grew up watching it so much. Have you guys seen it?
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow. I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back. It's time for our segments of the week as we start with my favorite one, Evan's End Zone. We're going to start how we always do with some overperformers of the week. One guy I've had faith in fantasy football since I drafted him, Jackson Smith-Njigba, gave me 20 points in week 3. His points go up each week as he establishes himself as wide receiver 1. With Sam Darnold at quarterback, JSN registered 6 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. Whether in the slot or on the outside, JSN continues to impress all fantasy owners. Please don't bench him. I made that mistake with A.J. Brown, so thanks a lot, A.J. Another overperformer for me was Trey Tucker. It's pretty hard to imagine him having as much points as he did, but Jacoby Myers is the supposed wide receiver 1 of the Raiders. Geno Smith hasn't been stellar at all, but Tucker managed to haul in 8 receptions for 145 yards and 3 scores yesterday in the loss. He has more yards in one game than Mike Evans, Devonta Smith, and Justin Jefferson have all had in their 3. The smart move would be keeping him as a flex receiver if you don't already. Well, we've hit the unfortunate part of this segment where I have to highlight someone whose week was dry as the Steelers on 3rd down. It's time to have a conversation about Marvin Harrison Jr. We've seen his issues dropping the ball. In fact, it's been a glaring issue. He had 2 drops against the 49ers and only 3 receptions for 44 yards. He had 7 fantasy points in a game where he should have had a lot more. He's probably a questionable start for me moving forward. And yeah, on to the predictions. I think Emeka Egbuka is a must start from now on if he's on your team. Round 9 steal for me, but Egbuka has been a prime weapon for quarterback Baker Mayfield, especially in the red zone, as he already has 3 touchdowns on the year, registering 181 yards so far. This could go up for him since wide receiver Mike Evans went down yesterday with a low-grade hamstring injury. He may not return for a few weeks. One more quick start is quarterback Josh Allen, who I believe is going to have his best game of the year against the Saints. Allen averages 27 points per game, and I think that's going to go up next week. Now, Maddox, things are getting kind of crazy with you, huh?
Yes, Evan, and I would hope your own segment would be one of your favorites, but prime time is where we expect the stars to shine, but sometimes you just have a meltdown. Welcome to Miller's Meltdown, where we're going to be talking about one man in particular, and that's Mr. Unlimited. Russell Wilson took on the Kansas City Chiefs last night, and oh boy, did he have quite the stinker. 18 for 32, 160 yards, and 2 interceptions in a loss for the New York Giants. Their season starts 0-3. Now you may be wondering, this just seems like a standard Russell Wilson performance these days, and I would agree with you. However, I have one thing that really bothers me, and it's that interception near the end of the first half. It is 6-6. Cam Skadaboo scored a great touchdown, and you had some PAT mishaps, but 6-6 with the Super Bowl making Kansas City Chiefs. And what does Russell Wilson do late in the second half? Instead of keeping the ball secure to kick a field goal to go in with a 3-9 or 6-9 lead, when Kansas City gets the ball back, he says, I got one more moon ball left in me. And instead, it is a back corner fade that is wound up being picked off by Kansas City, which then Kansas City proceeds to drive on and kick a field goal and then come out of half and score again. Russell Wilson, you also threw multiple hospital balls to Malik Neighbors as one of the young stars in the game. I would not appreciate that. You also have New York fans chanting for Jackson Dart, so that's not going good. This was your chance after a great week against the Cowboys to prove yourself. Instead, you completely melted down in prime time. The lights, as they always say, were simply too bright for Russell Wilson, and maybe Mr. Unlimited will have to find some time on the bench to do some soul searching to maybe get back on that horse. Maybe the New York Giants can win some games. I doubt it, as long as Russell Wilson maintains their starting position.
Yeah, well, I wrote down Mr. Limited.
Yes.
Mr. Limited. I have it here written on my sheet.
Extremely limited.
He was very limited in that game. It really wasn't a great performance by him, but hopefully he can bounce back. He typically does, but I don't know.
Yes. And very quickly, Monday Night Football update, 7-7 Lions-Ravens in the second quarter. People were expecting a shootout. Seems like we're getting some great defense, though, in Baltimore.
All right, well, we'll see how that goes the rest of the night, but that'll do it for this edition of Sports Corner. Thank you so much for watching.
For updates from us 24/7, head over to KentStater.com and be sure to tune in to Overtime right here every Friday at 7 p.m. I'm Maddox Miller.
And I'm Evan Schofield, saying from the opening play to the final call, the Kent State Sports Network covers it all. Good night.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this. for his sake.
Without music on, check us truly at the 1975. Amen.
Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So always separate raw meat from vegetables. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Hey there, I'm Lance Bass, and this is Chip. And if you're like me, your pets mean the world to you. And if disaster strikes, saving them is a priority. Learn how to keep your best friends safe at AmericanHumane.org.
First, they said cigarettes were safe. Now, they say they didn't market